It's the hashtag Simply Cyber, COMMUNITY. Here to break the cycle, this is vital more than you and I. Yeah, it's exciting, it don't matter what your title is. You can grab a friend or two or three or four and vitamin. It's the Simply Cyber, bring a good vibe. It's the live with Jerry every morning, having good time. And you know we love to see for you, just gotta go and get it. Yeah, you know we all believe in you, it's time to grow together. It's the Simply Cyber, bring a good vibe. It's the live with Jerry every morning, having good times. And you know we love to see for you, just gotta go and get it. Yeah, you know we all believe in you, it's time to grow together. Dr. Auger is a OG, got that potion, the elixir. Got devotion to all those who keep on showing up to witness. Fit the tricks and quips and all the tips to raise your cyber fitness. Switching up the routines, pass it off to James quicker. Keep the people smiling, hit that follow, that's a good decision. Every week, today, tomorrow, I encourage y'all to listen. We gon' teach y'all way more than how to protect yourselves from phishing. More like being confident so you can recognize a vision. On a mission, it's official, we gon' get through all these issues. Time for jaw jacking, baby, this is more than a tradition, yeah. Oh, I can't forget to recognize the mods. They the engine, they the reason that you leave and feeling charged. It's that Simply Cyber, bring a good vibe. It's that live with Jerry every morning, having good times. And you know we love to see for you, just gotta go and get it. Yeah, you know we all believe in you, it's time we grow together. It's that Simply Cyber, bring a good vibe. It's that live with Jerry every morning, having good times. And you know we love to see for you, just gotta go and get it. Yeah, you know we all believe in you, it's time we grow together. Yeah. What else can I say? I hope you find some value in this place and have yourself an awesome day. Simply Cyber's here to stay. So let's all put our hands together ready. Time to hang with Dr. A.
All right. Oh, we actually need some music going on here. We're going to have to pull the mixer down. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the party. Today is Thursday, February 20th, 2025. This is episode 818 of your Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast. I am your host, two thumbs, all smiles, Dr. Gerald Auger. And over the next hour, me, you, Cyber Coyote, Mr. Gunkle, Bearded Ruckus, all in the car or at the command station with FedEx here on staff. We got ports here on the Upstate Code Brew. We're joined in the Premium Mobile Studio by DJ B-Sec, Josh Mason, and The Real Bilbo. We're all going to be shredding the top cybersecurity news stories of the day, and I'll be giving my expert opinion and analysis on each of those stories. Most importantly, what can you distill from these stories, the essence of them, to really drive cyber risk reduction for your business stakeholders, and more importantly, I might argue, leveling yourself up as a practitioner so you get to dictate the terms of your employment and where you're going and basically being the CEO of you. And if you think that this show is for practitioners only, you got another thing coming to you. Everybody who wants to be in the industry is going to get value from this stream. I promise you, you will be asked in any job interview, how do you stay current on the industry? The Simply Cyber Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast is a banger of an answer, not just because, it's starting to get known, a little flex. What's up, G-Mark? It's starting to get a little bit known, but also, just being able to talk about, hey, did you hear about that Palo Alto? Today, if you were in an interview today and they had Palo Alto and you just dropped it, this, nasty critical vuln just dropped, you'd be like the bee's knees. People would be like, when can you start? Can you start right now? Can I deploy you into the field to go patch this thing? So that's what's up. It's all about good times. Now, I do want to let everybody know that I don't research or prep for any of these stories, which might seem ludicrous to an outlet like CISO Tradecraft, who probably does a little bit more prep work, but we don't have time for that, right? Here we go. All right, ain't nobody got time for that. So what we do is we come in hot, heavy, and raw, and we just bring the heat to you every single day. I can't wait for it. Now, really quickly, I do want to show you the community here that we got going on. Haven't switched it yet, gentlemen. There we go. Now, there we go. So we got them. The framing's not really great, so we're gonna have to move the camera. We'll take care of that for sure. It's a lot of this over here, and not a lot of Real Bilbo over there. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Keep going just a little bit more. Thank you, Real Bilbo. Come on back into the frame. See, this is called the Simply Cyber production. We make it happen in real Yes, yes, yes. I think we got it now. I basically had to turn it off and turn it on again. Audio is back. All right, guys. So really quickly, nobody is responsible for that, but someone did just trip over a wire. This is why gaffing tape is a thing. All right, so guys, I just want to let you know that we're going to do a quick ad read, and when I come back from it, we're going to tell you exactly how this show can solve all of your CPE problems. I promise you. Just a quick little ad read, and then we'll be right back. As a person that exists publicly, especially since I share my opinions and hot takes daily, I'm hyper aware of my safety and security, and it's even easier to find personal information about people online these days. All the data is just hanging out there on the internet, and it can have real life consequences. But I recently found a solution, and this service is called Delete Me. Delete Me is a subscription service that removes your personal info from the largest people search databases on the web, and in the process helps prevent ID theft, doxing, phishing scams, stuff like that. And when you sign up, you tell Delete Me what data you want deleted, and they go off and do it. The cool thing is you get a personalized privacy report every month that shows what they deleted, where they found it, etc. It's pretty cool. For me personally, it's like outsourcing your online privacy, which honestly, I don't have time to do that myself or do it well. So for them to handle it is awesome. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me now at the special discount for Simply Cyber listeners. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/simplycyber and enter code simplycyber at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/simply. I want to give some love to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief sponsor, ThreatLocker. Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Well, worry no more. You can harden your security with ThreatLocker. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust ThreatLocker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. ThreatLocker takes a deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based Cyber Heroes support team. Get a free 30-day trial and learn more about how ThreatLocker can help prevent ransomware and ensure compliance. Visit ThreatLocker. Do you want cutting-edge, high-quality cybersecurity education regardless of financial position? Check this out. I want to give some love and some praise to Antisyphon Training, powered by Black Hills Information Security. Antisyphon Training is absolutely disrupting the traditional cybersecurity training industry by providing high-quality, cutting-edge education to everyone regardless of financial position. They bring industry professionals with years and years of experience into the classroom to teach you and anyone else who's interested practical skills that are in demand in the market today. And on top of that, the student experience is amazing as you and hundreds or thousands in some instances of other students are actively engaging, networking, sharing tips, tricks, and experiences with each other all live in the classroom. Go to antisyphontraining.com, check out their course calendar to see what courses they have coming up next. You won't regret it. All right, thank you to the stream sponsors. Now, hey, everybody, I want you to know that every single episode of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief is worth half a CPE, so it's super easy. All you got to do is say, what's up in chat, grab a screenshot. Right above my head, you see Space Tacos, Happy National Muffin Day. You can use that for a screenshot and a half a CPE. Augusta Delgado, Mara Levy, David P. Guys, it's all about good times. And if you're driving, like Gunkel or Coyote, you can always go back to the replay and, you know, say what's up in chat. Really, the only reason to have the screenshot is if you ever get audited. It's not like you are required to have it in order to submit. And you can always go back to the stream if you don't get the screenshot. It's just going to be a major pain in the A. So right above my head here is the chat. Go ahead, grab a screenshot. Diego Alvarez knows what's going on with the date and timestamp. Good morning, first timer. And thank you, Diego Alvarez. So if you are a first timer, can you goose the audio because I'm going to turn the music down? If you are a first timer, let us know in chat.
Become best friends. Yep.
Oh, so that was a wow. So we just got a super chat at the same time that we welcome someone to the party. So really quickly, if it is your first time, say hashtag first timer in chat. Let us know. We got a special sound effect, special emote to squad members. Love it because we want you to have a great first experience here, and we want you to come back and be able to welcome other first timers. So shout out and love. Now the super chat did come in. Oh my God, dude, with this wire, what do you? All right, hold on. Let's see what this is. We got a £5 super chat. Justin Gibson wanted to say thank you. Just past the daily. Hold on one second. A Sec Plus and the daily. Oh, just past Sec Plus and the daily videos definitely helped with the tech lingo. Boom. Well, Justin Gibson. Nicely done. Well done, sir. Super pumped for you. Congratulations. We love it. Coming back on the audio, Josh. All right, guys. So we got a banger for you. Today is Thursday, which is What's Your Meme Thursday. We do this every single Thursday. Haircut Fish, a member of the community, makes a custom meme, and I don't censor it. I don't block it. And I got to tell you, of all of them, this one might take the cake, okay? If you were here for yesterday's show, so Diego Alvarez, you were a first-timer, so you won't know what happened yesterday. But if you were here for yesterday's show, get ready for nightmare fuel that you're about to see with What's Your Meme Thursday, so stay tuned for that. But it's all about good times. Guys, if you're a regular here, please let us know in chat, hashtag Team SC. Super happy to see all y'all. We're having a great time here at Zero Trust World. Day 2, we've been walking around. This conference is really good for like networking. Like it doesn't have that kind of it's too big vibe that Black Hat has, where you kind of run in your own little pockets. It's much more, you just walk up to people and start talking. It's very cool. So we're going to be continuing from here, but right now we're actually going to drop in and get ready to do our work. So do me a favor, everybody. Sit back, relax, and let's let the cool sounds of the hot news wash over all of us in an awesome wave. Hold on, let's get this spicy. Oh, there you go. Thank you, DJ B-Sec. All right, and also I want everyone to know, if you're following along at home, we are changing the last story of the CISO series. DJ B-Sec has curated a story for us because we just felt the last story didn't, warrant being in the programming. So let's go, everybody. Slowly. There it is.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Thursday, February 20th, 2025. I'm Lauren Verno. Russian hackers tap into Signal conversations. Russian state-backed hackers are exploiting Signal's linked devices feature to hijack accounts by tricking targets, often Ukrainian military personnel, into scanning malicious QR codes. Once linked, attackers can intercept messages in real time without fully compromising the victim's device. Google researchers identified multiple threat groups using this technique, with some embedding QR codes in phishing pages disguised as military applications or security alerts. Signal has rolled out security updates to counter these threats, but is urging users to take extra precautions when scanning QR codes.
Okay, so this is definitely, I appreciate that this is the first story. So for those who don't know, Signal is considered a secure messaging app. Like other apps like Telegram and WhatsApp and iMessage and stuff like that, they're cute and quaint, but they're not considered secure because they're not truly end-to-end, right? If you can crack into the servers that kind of manage the infrastructure, you can get that information. You can intercept data. You can do all sorts of things. So Signal has been considered secure, and it's used not just by military people, but also like investigative journalists. We saw. I think it was just recently, like somebody in Wall Street just laid off a ton of people. I can't remember who. And like journalists were saying like, hey, if you'd like to discuss with me privately, here's my Signal. So like it's not like it's a secret that you have a Signal. It's being used for secure encrypted communications. But obviously in this instance, there are weaknesses. Now, I want to point out the weakness here is not a technical flaw in the Signal application of the software. It's truly a process or workflow flaw. So when we, let me do this. When we think about flaws, right, I want everyone to wrap their head around this. There's technical flaws, which is what all the sexy things are in the movies. There's people flaws like social engineering, phishing, but there's also workflow flaws. Now, this is kind of a mix of workflow and social engineering, but those three things, that's like just like confidentiality, availability, and integrity. It's like you can all boil it down. It's going to be one of those three areas. And when we're actually GRC Mafia, shout out, when we're looking at where to put controls, like those are the three areas that you would put controls. So this one, what's important to note is Signal has this option, right? So say you have two iPhones or an iPhone and a laptop or whatever, and you want to have that Apple ecosystem where you can like flow from one device to another so you have a seamless experience. Signal allows you to do that by using a QR code to scan from an existing Signal instance that you're logged into. Really, really cool. I do want to point out as like one kind of control, if you do log in, you don't get a chat history from that Signal experience. Like, all the chat history is not there, and you can't pull it down. The Russians basically are weaponizing this, where they send a phishing campaign, they get you to like scan a QR code somehow, and basically they register a new device. So think of a Russian bot farm where they've just got a bunch of devices, and all of them are logged into different, VIPs or critical, assets, military applications, or political people. So it's not good. I don't know if Signal. I know like Google Chrome will say like you're logged in 3 different places. I don't know.
Signal does.
Signal does. All right, so let's take this to the. This is a huge story. Just really quickly, what I would recommend. I'm almost positive Signal, at least on the FAT app, will auto update and say like click here to update. So this is something you got to update. Again, you and I and real Bilbo, like we're probably not going to be targets of an attack like this, but just for like best practices and consistency, you don't want to F around and find out with this one. Let's take it to the panel really quickly. Gentlemen, Josh Mason, you got a thought?
No, I agree with you completely. It's way too easy to scan something, have your device now registered somewhere else, and someone could just see or intercept or interact with all of your messages now.
For me, looking at this particular story, we can see they're using waterhole tactics. They're basically leveraging websites that the military, the Ukrainian military, whoever their target is putting the QR codes on those websites, and people just go, oh, look, easy way to get the app or whatever it is. And so it's important that with any type of QR code, we're making sure we're understanding its source and seeing if there's another way to be able to get to it. But watering holes, basically think of the Pride Lands. You get all the gazelles drinking by the water, and the lions are going, hey, easy attack. Same thing here with the nation state and cyber criminals, the Russians in this case.
Yeah, so haircut fish, do not take this for action, but just imagine a bunch of like gazelles with like with Carl's head, like lapping water. Okay, all right. Bilbo, you want to comment on this one?
Yeah, I'll just piggyback kind of on what James has said here. It goes back to that human element. So GRC Mafia, we got to watch that we're not talking out of both sides of our mouth, right? We say don't scan QR codes, but then we try to make it easier for users by giving them QR codes. So it's just a URL hidden in a picture. So we just have to keep that in mind when we're training our users and reiterate that they still have to know where that's coming from.
And for Signal users, it's an easy thing to go in and check your linked devices.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Good hygiene.
From a threat hunting perspective, yeah, check. Like, it's actually a good idea to do it. And you might even want to, depending on what kind of organization you work in, like military, you'd probably want to do this. Make a quick little 30-second video, like, hey, check this out. Like, click here, here, here. You need to make it as easy as possible. Like, no friction, right? Friction is like the bane of like adoption, okay?
Actually, I mean, there should be a prompt or something, and we see it with Google, where with any of the apps, it's like, hey, you're now connected to X device. If this is something, confirm, deny, or whatever. And so you have that, but also go through and always check all your applications, whether it's X, Facebook, have a look to see what apps are connected into you, and also have a look to see what devices are connected, and review them regularly.
I think you do get an email when you link a new device.
On Signal?
On Signal. So
all right, there you go.
Look out for those.
Yep. All right, so check it out. Let's go.
Ransomware group hits critical infrastructure globally. Ghost ransomware has hit critical infrastructure in multiple industries across 70 plus countries by exploiting unpatched vulnerabilities in Fortinet, Cold Fusion, and Exchange servers. In a joint advisory on Wednesday, CISA, the FBI, and MSISAC warned that attackers rotate malware variants, ransom notes, and email addresses to evade attribution using tools like Mimikatz and Cobalt Strike for initial access. Now, to defend against these attacks, the advisory recommends organizations patch vulnerabilities, implement phishing-resistant MFA, segment networks, and maintain offline backups.
All right, so let's check this out. So this one's a good story. This is good. And really quick shout out to Sean Sailors, who said Sci-Hi for that last story. This would be Sci-Hi too. That's an inside joke. So for Diego Alvarez as a first-timer here, Cyber hygiene is a real thing. Somebody, some organization, some reporter, I don't know who, said sci-hi. Don't say that in an interview, please. And don't even say that on a conference floor. You get stuffed into a locker for that. Okay, so check it out.
Hang on. Is saying sci-hi like WSUS?
Bro. So listen. Okay. Oh my God. Hold on 1 second. I got 4 or 5. Here we go. So check it out. This one, Ghost ransomware, whatever. Flaming Donkey ransomware. I don't care. I hadn't heard of Ghost. They're hitting everybody. They're, hide your wife, hide your husband. Like, here's the deal that you got to know about with this ransomware threat actor. They're not doing anything new or novel or innovative. They literally are exploiting outdated, vulnerable versions of software using well-known, Cobalt, Cobalt Strike. You need to get a license, but we've seen numerous organizations set up shell companies and then buy the software, right? Conti had a fully licensed version of Cobalt Strike, not even like a cracked version. And then the reporter said that they're using Mimikatz for initial access. That's not true. So just a real quick, as far as I know, someone in chat can correct me. Mimikatz is essentially post-exploitation to dump creds and, get into privilege escalation. So
yes, 100%. It's for capturing tickets and, yeah.
Yeah, so you want to do that. Hey, really quickly, Fleet has posted, not here in person, but here in spirit, dropping a 10 gifted subs. Do we have, well, thank you, Fleet is posting. So if you're one of the folks who are picking up those gifted subs like Stay High, Medine, Devon, etc., please, say a shout out to Fleet is posting and get some into that squad membership chat. We do have a question for jawjacking. Medine G wants to know what phishing resistance MFA is. Please bookmark that. We're not answering it right now. So here's what I would just say, guys. As a best practice, you can see this threat actor doesn't give a flying F about what industry they're hitting, what country they're hitting. They're literally using Shodan, scanning for vulnerable software, which is wicked easy to do, and then using known weapons and pushing into them. So anybody, say you got laid off, right? And you're you got to make ends meet. The bills are coming due. The kids are hungry, whatever. You're going to get fired. This is fully in the playbook of those people. So the attack surface, or not the attack surface, the threat landscape can increase dramatically on this one.
CISA says to patch Palo Alto flaw immediately. Attackers are actively exploiting a critical authentication bypass flaw in Palo Alto Network's PAN-OS firewalls, chaining it to 2 other vulnerabilities to escalate privileges and read sensitive files. Exploitation attempts have surged, with 25 malicious IPs now targeting affected devices, up from just 2 initially. CISA has added the vulnerability to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog, requiring federal agencies to patch by March 11th of this year. Organizations are also urged to apply patches immediately and whitelist IPs in the management interface.
Oh, all right. Hey, where's the infographic? Okay. Hey, so check it out. You might be like, oh my God, listen to this news. PAN-OS surging exploitation on this vulnerability. Well, welcome to the party, pal, because this is Simply Cyber's daily cyber threat brief, where we covered this story in depth yesterday. So I would love for you to go to yesterday's for an in-depth analysis, but because it is here, because it is super important, because it is getting a hole punched into the side of it pretty strongly, if you are running PAN-OS, which is Palo Alto's operating system for their networking devices, you've got to patch it definitively. You got to patch it. And they say here, federal agencies are getting cracked open. Dude, Palo Alto, as far as I'm concerned, I know I dunk on Juniper all the time. Aruba, Palo Alto, Cisco, they are top tier, basically enterprise grade solutions. And Palo Alto is typically your firewall, right? Your external facing firewall. You can use it for network segmentation, but this thing is designed to bear the brunt of the internet and all the attacks that come from the internet. If you've ever stood a honeypot up on an internet facing asset, you know full well how much probing and prodding and tickling and under the carriage, you know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so, I'm sorry. Anyways, all right, hold on. I just derailed there. Hold on. Okay, so Anyways, just patch your Palo Alto. It's all you got to do. Guy, actually, so let's throw it to real Bilbo for a second. Bilbo, as far as for people in chat are like, holy crap, like I definitely got to patch this Palo Alto thing. Let's talk about like really quick, like 2 minutes. Like what are some of the challenges that might come from trying to solve this patching the Palo Alto thing? Because it's not just like set it, you don't just do it while you're getting a coffee.
Well, first of all, Palo Alto is going to be in production, right? So we have users we have to think about, business line applications, all the stuff that we have to focus on. So Palo Alto being as big as it is, you can see that mostly in enterprise networks. They're probably going to have a full change management board, so you're going to have to go through your change management process, schedule emergency maintenance. So there's a lot of notification, a lot of senior level approval you're probably going to have to get, and you're going to be busy doing the admin side long before you get to touch the technical side where you actually push the button to deploy the patch.
Also, DJ Bisek in Behind the Glass saying that each device will take about 30 minutes to patch. So give consideration for that, right? Like it's one thing if you're doing your home network and you have one firewall. When you have a facility with or an organization that's spread out all over the country with a bunch of these Palo Alto devices, 30 minutes times X does scale up pretty quickly. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not like Fortinet. It's not their central cloud management part that's compromised. So you can still use the cloud management and push those patches out to those remote sites. But again, it's going to take time. It's going to take scheduling. It's going to take approval from the senior C-suite. You're going to have to get them on board, and that takes time.
Yeah, and the final thing I'll say about this really quick is this is one of those ones where, like, say you're, like, junior in the industry and you hear me and you hear the panel here saying, like, oh, man, this one's wicked nasty, which, by the way, this one is wicked nasty, okay? This one does need to be fixed soon. Do the things Bilbo said. Like, you may be like, oh, dude, I'm just going to fire this patch and let it go. Like, this could be your IT destruction story where, like, you bring down production or you dork up things. We're getting close to the weekend. You don't want to do this tomorrow, all right? Believe me. So just be aware of that. Even though something is on fire and, like, be measured, be prudent, take a, kind of not a conservative approach, but be mindful. Don't just say, like literally, this is something a junior person would do. Like, get a message from the CIO. Hey, I saw this. Is this a problem? Junior person. No problems. I'll fix it. And then they just go into Palo Alto and hit update now. And then, like, they're like, oh, I'm crushing it. And then you've crushed your network, actually. So just don't be that guy or lady. 30 minutes later. Yeah.
Thousands rescued from scam hubs. Thailand is set to take in 7,000 people rescued from illegal cyber scam hubs in Myanmar as part of a regional crackdown on human trafficking and online fraud. Now, criminal syndicates in Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos have forced thousands, many trafficked through Thailand, into scams like cryptocurrency fraud and fake investment schemes. Now, while authorities continue efforts to dismantle these operations, past crackdowns have shown that these groups often relocate and are able to continue this multi-billion-dollar industry.
Okay, so hey, really quick, shout out to Brian Gruss, who gave 10 gifted subs. Nailing it. Thank you so very much, Brian. And to the 10 gifted squad members who picked up those squads, get into the squad emo tray, and if you can, do what Space Tacos does and drop all those Oprah emotes, because we're making it rain up in here. Hold on. You know what? When you're in the mobile studio, you have like less surface area to work with. Okay, so first of all, I would love to recognize
Regulators, mount up. It was a clear
Dude.
black night, a clear white moon. Warren G was on the streets trying to consume some.
All right, so this is the DJ BSEC panel. So I guess we've got the extended cut of regulators. Warren G and Nate Dogg were, trendsetters and really doing what's up. Fun fact, Snoop Dogg and Nate Dogg, cousins, put that in your bar trivia. So check it out. Thailand setting the tone for the world. I love this. I think there was a story like 2 weeks ago that Thailand cut power to like a bunch of these call centers where all this scam stuff's going on. And Dude, I love it. Like get the baby oil. Let's do a rub down because let's disrupt operations. And at the time I said, listen, like just shutting the power down doesn't do any. Like okay, like we got no power. Like we're just gonna go get a Jenny or something, or we're gonna move over here, or we're gonna wait till you turn the power on, and whatever. This right here, the old hammer and anvil tactic. I like it. So not only did they shut it down, but now they're like basically raiding and trying to help the victims who are forced to work in those call centers. So fun fact, if you didn't know, and John Oliver on Last Week Tonight did a phenomenal job with a pig butchering episode. And mods, if someone can drop a link in chat or something to the John Oliver Last Week Tonight episode. But here's the deal. When you get that text message that says, hey, I left my golf clubs in your car, or hey, like whatever, like, and you engage with that person and they ultimately end up ripping you off, or they steal like your buddy's parents like $5,000, or your Aunt Dorothea gets taken for a ride. The person who's doing that is oftentimes also a victim. Like they migrated from like Vietnam to Cambodia, had their passport taken away, shoved into a call center, and told that if they don't make $5,000 to $10,000 a day, they're going to get the crap kicked out of them. Now, just imagine what that life is like. So, like, you are incentivized by, physical threat to rip people off. So, for Thailand to do this is phenomenal. Like, this is the kind of, like, not civil rights. Like, what's it called? Like, human rights? Yeah, human rights. Like, this is the kind of thing that I'm into. So, I feel like Thailand is like a mixed bag, because I know Thailand's got some dodgy stuff where, like, people go there for, like, pretty fringe lifestyle choices, but also I'm loving this. Thailand going ham on pig butchering scam centers was not on my bingo card, but I'll take it. Let's add them to the Interpol crew, and let's keep moving. By the way, it's 8:30, so we're right at the top of the hour. It's perfect.
Thanks to today's episode sponsor, Scrut Automation. Scrut Automation allows compliance and risk teams of any size to establish enterprise-grade security programs. Their best-in-class features like process automation, AI, and over 75 native integrations reverse compliance debt and help manage risk proactively as your business grows. Visit scrut.io to schedule a demo or learn more. That's www.scrut.io.
Here we go. All right, everybody. Holla, holla, holla. Mod chat's dropping some comments in here, so let me just take a quick look and make sure there's nothing. I can't read that, so can you look in mod chat?
Don't worry, it's just me and BSEC fighting.
Oh, all right. That's
posted
great.
First?
Guys, I want to say thank you all very much. We are at the bottom of the hour. Real Bilbo correcting me on how to tell time. I swear to God, guys, every single day here at Zero Trust World, a lot of people are getting smarter with the hacking labs. I'm getting dumber. Somehow I'm turning into like a corporate end user. I was issued a Blazer last night and a MacBook, and I was told to just go get some coffee and come back later, and that'll be fine. So I'm dying over here. But guys, shout out to the stream sponsors. Thank you, Delete Me, Antisyphon, and ThreatLocker, and of course, Barricade Cyber. Barricade Cyber. I need to open my notepad. Barricade, I've done this ad read for like a year and a half. Listen, Barricade Cyber Solutions is dedicated to helping businesses from cyber attacks and recover from the damage done, guys. Cyber attacks can cause massive issues for businesses and send dedicated, hardworking business owners into turmoil. But did you know that Barricade Cyber Solutions knows how to mitigate the damage done by cyber incidents? Eric Taylor, the crew over at Barricade Cyber, they have worked with ransomware threat actors, and they've worked with many, many businesses to recover their operation back to a known good state. Don't go into a fight with a threat actor alone. Believe me, you want experience and help. Go to barricadecyber.com for Eric Taylor and the team to help you, or even to set up an introductory call. Guys, I want to say thank you to all of you for being here today. We got 400 folks in chat right now, looking pretty good, looking pretty stellar. Every single day of the week, guys, has a special segment, and Thursdays is What's Your Meme Thursday. So this beautiful man right here, Dan Reardon, a.k.a. the Haircut Fish, he makes a custom meme every day. Now, if you were not here for yesterday's show, let me just get you up to date. I don't know, guys, I literally don't know what I'm going to say on the show. And yesterday I made a comment about Josh riding me and hitting me with a horse crop. Oh, because I'm an instructor at the academy, and Josh is the dean. Anyways, Dan Reardon took this as inspiration. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll let this thing breathe. I give you this week's custom meme of the week. There. This thing is unbelievable. Oh my God. It's gonna hit, and when it does, this it's gonna melt people. There we go. And ladies and gentlemen, riding crop. Thanks, Space Tacos. So I hope you enjoy that. It's something. So yeah, Ron, I see people at the table who are attending the show in person, and they are really enjoying that meme. So Dan Reardon, I can tell you in person that this is really well received.
This needs to be blown up poster size.
This will not be made into a shirt. There will not be a sticker.
Kimberly can fix it. We need a shirt like this, I think.
Dan, you know my address. Send the shirt over. I'll take it.
So, all right, hey, Alpha Sierra, let's get our la la la's on. The subtlety of Josh's mouth, like this might be the best one I've ever seen. And I would just like chat to realize that this is evidence that I don't screen or censor this meme of the week. I'm telling you, I'm seeing people here in real life, and it's just a hot mess express. All right, let's try to get ourselves together. We do have work to do, so let's get back into the news.
FBI official provides more detail on Salt Typhoon attack. A top official at the FBI painted a clear picture as to the sheer impact of the Salt Typhoon attack. Speaking at the 2025 Zero Trust Summit, FBI Deputy Assistant Director Cynthia Kaiser emphasized the scale and indiscriminate nature of China's data collection from major telecom providers. Officials say the breach compromised every group of people, including law enforcement information, call records, and even data on American children, raising concerns over its long-term impact. Kaiser asked the crowd, quote, "Can any of you imagine a world in which China would have been stealing information about you as a 13-year-old? That's precisely what American children are facing, and that's going to follow them in the future," end quote. Since being exposed last year, the U.S. has since sanctioned a Chinese national and a cybersecurity firm linked to the operation, but Salt Typhoon remains active with ongoing attacks on global networks.
Oh, I see. All right. So, perfect. Guys, this is pretty good, pretty crazy. We were talking amongst ourselves here in the chat, but okay, so listen. Salt Typhoon, I mean, this one's kind of wild. This isn't really like something to take action for today or anything like that. Salt Typhoon, which is the Microsoft Threat Actor Naming Convention for one particular faction within the Chinese APT space that is targeting telecom. So they've taken ISPs, they've gotten into that, they've gotten into like the major telecom carriers, which the number I heard was 9, which is interesting because I can't name 9. Like AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, and then it's like, I don't know, Boost maybe or whatever. But anyways, ones you've never even heard of, they're all up in, right? So it's full compromise, full breach, basically. And, you know, the FBI is just basically getting out there and speaking to practitioners about, hey, can you imagine this is happening? To me, like, I don't know. I don't want to get political. This isn't a political story, but like as a practitioner, when I'm going to put this full screen, guys, as far as the panel goes. When I think of when I think of like this problem as an organization, so like let's separate that it's all the U.S. telecoms. Let's just think of it as like your business and Salt Typhoon's all up in it, like all capacities of the business. Like sitting around talking about like, oh, it's happened. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, what is this? Like summer camp and we're around a campfire? Like, let's get to work. To me, like the conversation should be more about like, how do we prevent this from happening? How do we enable our stakeholders, in this case, the telecom providers, to go threat hunting, to find those IOCs, to harden themselves. And I know that there's like a telecom ISAC and stuff like that, but it's just, I don't know. To me, this is like part of the problem. It just feels bureaucratic and not really effective at addressing the problem. Panel?
Yes and no. So one of the big things I went to Hack the Capitol in January, and getting legislators and their staffers to understand what it is that we're dealing with on a daily basis, kind of doing a little bit deeper like cyber awareness so they actually know what the threat is really helpful, because they have to come up with like work on topics from farming to finance to manufacturing to trade to cyber. And so getting this stuff out in front of them at a Zero Trust Summit in DC, where they can actually, inform people on what is happening. Like, these things come out in the news and they may or may not pay attention. Getting it in front of them in a summit, like described this way, with like the impact of hitting them like with kids are affected and it's affecting their lives, deeper than just like telecoms are going to lose money or lose trust, or our data is out there. Really putting it in terms that they can care about and that they can then turn around and use in their political scheme, in like actually coming up with something that might help. Putting funding, putting laws, putting privacy. A U.S. privacy law would be really nice. Or it might.
We could have a
Long overdue on that.
In my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, from a, even looking at it from a child perspective, teenagers. I mean, I've got two 20-something daughters that, have grown up with me hearing all this. But the kids that are out there that haven't been exposed to that, and their information is out there. They're basically living their lives with all their personal information that's out there. And they have to, the realization of the fact that they have to continually be monitoring their social security number, their credits, their accounts, and everything else, making sure, and that's why there's tons of free services, good, bad, or indifferent, that are out there that do that monitoring. That's what's sadly become the norm that we have to do to be able to monitor accounts so that we don't get scammed or lose our identity. Babies being born and 3 days later their social security numbers have been pilfered is just really horrible. And there needs to be more done to, whether we get regulation or privacy laws, certainly needs to be done in this country.
Yeah, so I'll kind of, I guess it's the motto for today. I'll piggyback someone. I'm going to piggyback on what James said. It goes back to user education in some ways. Kids are impressionable, right? We can teach them anything. So why don't we start at the very beginning of school teaching them about this stuff? Hey, you got that portable device in your hand. What can it do? What are your risk exposures? I mean, it depends on what walk of life you come from, but where I come from, the people I help, I see, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids with a cell phone in hand. I see 2-year-old kids with tablets when I'm at dinner and whatnot. So kids are smart. They'll learn. We need to teach them from the beginning so that they know from an early age that, hey, these are the risks I'm going to go in. And then I just want to ask a question. I'm going to leave it right here. Why isn't our social security number locked by default at birth?
There you go. All right. Yeah. Let's continue on. A lot of good questions. A lot of chat in chat. I'm watching chat, y'all, and I see you talking about privacy laws and about how some people just brag that they don't care. Some people feel disenfranchised about privacy at this point. And then also people, and I'm saying this for you as well as the panel, people talking about how kind of a calculated move to say, like, what about the children in order to emotionally charge this and make it a thing that we're talking about
I
here.
was going to say, somebody in when we do jaw jacking, somebody bring up about child training kids, because I got a soapbox to jump onto.
All right, let's go.
New malware spreads as fake browser up.
Hey, quick shout out to Triple D, who wants to point out that the lights are bright here at Zero Trust World, and a lot of shiny heads, but it means high IQ. So this panel is amazing.
8. A new Mac OS targeting malware called Frigid Stealer is being distributed via a compromised website disguised as a browser update, tricking users into entering their passwords to steal browser cookies, credentials, Apple Notes, and cryptocurrency-related files. Now, the malware is linked to the financially motivated cybercriminal group TA2727, which has previously targeted Windows and Android users with similar tactics. Attackers are using a traffic distribution service operated by TA2726, which also directs traffic to other cybercrime groups, including those behind the Sock Ghoulish malware.
Okay. So, I mean, this is a great story. I mean, obviously this sucks, right? This is malware infecting people, but it's a good story from a case study perspective. First of all, Macs can get malware. So, like, I know that that's kind of an old myth, but coming up, when I was younger and didn't have gray hair, it was like a myth that like Macs couldn't get it. All right. So this one, basically Mac users running around and they... Oh, wait, hold on. I got to change this camera angle. Mac users are running around and they find a compromised website. So first of all, threat actor has to successfully compromise a website and be able to deploy code on the website, right? So now they have, web server access in some capacity, unless you're going to do something like it's 1995 and you're going to be injecting JavaScript into like a blog post or something like that. But that doesn't really happen that often. This is definitely a threat actor compromising the website, putting the code there. So now... Then the threat actor has to drive traffic to it. So this could involve Google Ads or an email with a URL that looks legit and drives there. So second part of the attack, you got to drive the traffic there. Third, this is a social engineering piece where basically the person has to fall for it. And when they go to the website's just basically going to run that JavaScript code and present them with a pop-up saying that they need to update their browser. Now, again, this is pretty common knowledge for a lot of people, but it's worth pointing out just so everybody's on the same level. When you access a website, there is a user agent that tells the website what kind of browser you have. And the whole idea behind this is that you get the best user experience. If you're on mobile, if you're on a laptop, if you're Kimberly and you're on a TV on the lanai, like whatever it is, that user agent tells it. But that information can be weaponized effectively by the threat actor to say, oh, you need a Google Chrome update. You need a Safari update, right? So it's more personalized, and it feels like it's more legitimate. Once you run that code for the update, you're screwed, right? At that point, you got an info stealer running in memory. So it does say a DMG file, which is like the native Mac file. So it does write a file down to disk. It's not just executing in memory. My thoughts are it's probably JavaScript running in memory, reaching out to a C2 to pull down the actual malicious payload that it's going to detonate. And once it's there, stealing your crypto. So JCrypto, your Bitcoin, it's in the trash now. And also cookies and credentials, tokens, your API keys if you got those cracking around. So this is a full-on info stealer. Initial access brokers is a thing now. Threat actors, if they want to target you, is a thing now. Best practice. Educate your end users. Looking at you, executives. Macs can get malware. Number 2, run an EDR if you can. So when it detonates on your box, it doesn't do as much damage. 3, email security gateway. I'm telling you, in 2025, if you're not running email security gateway, even if it's Exchange Online protection at a minimum, you're really doing yourself a disservice. That like MFA, email security gateway, and user training, these are the things that are really like low-hanging fruit that you can hook it up. I did look at Real Bilbo yesterday because we had a conversation, and he is GRC Mafia, but he also thinks end user awareness training is less than effective.
So I was reading over your shoulder. It looks like it runs in the files in Go, and you have to download the file and then right-click, run it, is what she said.
Okay.
So to get past Mac's like pre-filter. So a little bit of awareness on your users on Mac of, hey, don't right-click run anything. Personally, I was looking around for Slava. I was like, hey, would ThreatLocker catch this? Because now it's a program that's running that is not on the allow list.
You got to get a mic.
Yeah, it would, in fact, because I use ThreatLocker where I come from. So it's default deny. As long as no one has made a rule to allow it to proceed, it will not go. Now, those rules can be tied to certificates, file path, process name, and a hash. So if you build your rule right, even if they right-click it and run it, it's not going to go. But yeah, that's good. Anytime in a Mac you have to say yes, go, it's probably not an okay thing, or you want to ask a question about it.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to make an ad. I was editing the Slava interview, and I know he covered that. So
we are at Zero Trust World 25, ThreatLocker conference.
The other aspect to this, though, is you talk about enterprise, you talk about user training, that's great. But what about the people that aren't in organizations? Teenagers, 20-somethings, seniors. They're the most exposed for this, and this is probably their target audience because they'll download, I got to do an update. Okay, the computer told me I had to do an update. I've got countless stories of in-laws and adult family members who have, the computer told me to do the update, and that's who they're going after, the people that aren't unaware.
Yeah, so let your folks know updates will come through the browser. The browser will do it itself. You shouldn't have to download a file to update your browser.
There you go. So make sure you got to patch it.
But patch it right.
You got to patch it, but make sure you're patching it
the right way, through the right
vehicles.
channels.
All right, let's go.
Military man pleads guilty in telecom attacks. A former U.S. Army soldier has pleaded guilty to hacking a significant amount of phone records from AT&T and Verizon. The defendant, John Waganis, faces up to 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine for each of the two charges for unlawful transfer of confidential phone records. Now, the breaches are tied to the indictment of other hackers involved in the 2024 Snowflake data breaches, which exposed data from AT&T, LendingTree, Santander Bank, Ticketmaster, and over 160 other companies.
Okay, so this was a major breach. The fact that this guy was in the U.S. Army is kind of unimportant, in my opinion. Like, he was in the Army, but like, if he worked at like, I don't know, an AT&T store, would it, AT&T store clerk pleads guilty? Like, I don't know. I feel like they did that to sensationalize it a little bit. So this guy, the Snowflake breach, I had never heard of Snowflake prior to the attack, but they're one of these big B2E, like business to enterprise type guys that do data storage and kind of IT service type stuff. And they got hit, and lots of large companies lost their data. Kind of a classic, compromise to data exfil attack. The good thing is, first of all, let's do some.
Regulators, mount up. It was a clear black night, a clear white moon. Warren G was on the streets.
All right.
To consume some.
So this guy pled guilty. Obviously, if you've been arrested or dealt with law enforcement before, you typically get a lighter sentence if you plead guilty and try to like make amends and give the money back or give the data back or whatever. So I'm sure he was doing that, especially staring down the barrel of 10 years. That wouldn't be great.
Sounds like he gave up other people who were part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's usually how plea deals go.
Yeah. The other thing I want to point, not that this is a nothing story, but like, it's a good conclusion to a data breach. Typically, threat actors operate in Eastern Europe. They're bulletproof, and we don't get the justice that we need later. But in this instance, we are going to get it. Again, if I was going to become a cyber criminal, I sure wouldn't do it on U.S. soil. You know what I mean? Finally, I just want to point out really quickly, these reporters, you can see in the story here, do you have more information about the Snowflake hack? And they said, you can reach me on Signal at this number. So, like, just, we talked about in the first story about Signal, Russians tricking people into adding new devices to their Signal. But, like, this is how they're doing it, reporters and such, in order to have these secure communications.
Trump administration.
All right, so we're going to pick a different story here because, we're taking editorial liberties here. So this one's curated from DJ BSEC.
Or North Korean hackers using Dropbox and PowerShell scripts. The North Korean state-sponsored group Kimseki, APT-43, has been conducting cyber espionage campaigns targeting South Korean entities and cryptocurrency users. These attacks involve phishing emails containing malicious LNK files that execute obfuscated PowerShell scripts, utilizing Dropbox API for payload delivery and data exfiltration. This strategy allows the attackers to bypass traditional security defenses by leveraging trusted cloud services and living off the land techniques. Story 5, Microsoft recognized as leader in
Cap's
cyber
top
physical
DoD.
systems
Oh my God!
protection.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. There's too much going on. Okay, we're good. All right. Hey, so okay, so this is the story curated by DJ BSEC. North Korea, Kim Suki, when we think of North Korea threat actors, a lot of us think of Lazarus Group, right? They're financially motivated. They're very good. North Korea's begun to, spread their wings, right? Like the baby bird ready to leave the nest, and, mama bird's just going to push them out. The Kim Suki threat actor group inside of North Korea, much more, I don't want to say sophisticated than Lazarus, because Lazarus is quite sophisticated, but their objectives are much more targeted on espionage and nation state military kind of campaigns. And this one, the story points out that they're using Dropbox as a C2 essentially, and they're using PowerShell scripts to infiltrate orgs. The takeaway here for everybody is this is standard protocol practice in cybersecurity. You should be well aware of these techniques. And what I want to tell you, this is one that you can drop a bomb in a job interview, whether it's North Korea or Russia or anyone else. A lot of threat actors, red teams, are going to do this. Here's the deal. You could set a firewall up to block some weird random IP address that threat actor X is using. You're not going to block Dropbox. You're not going to block Google Drive. You're not going to block DNS, right? So these services, you just can't block. And by the way, the traffic is typically on port 443, which is encrypted web traffic. You're not going to block encrypted web traffic at the firewall. We all use SaaS products. You're just not going to do that, okay? So you're not going to be able to see that. Then PowerShell scripts. They're detonating PowerShell scripts because PowerShell is native. It's going to be on all the Windows boxes. You're going to be able to do it. PowerShell can hide. If you're running Mimikatz, it's going to look like Mimikatz. If you're running PowerShell, it could be an IT admin doing their work. Now, obviously, the behavior of the PowerShell is interesting to look at, and this is how you can detect if it's malicious or not. Also, the permissions of what the PowerShell is executing under. So Carl falls for a phishing campaign and tries to detonate PowerShell, but Real Bilbo's in charge of this environment, and he has made it so end users can't detonate or run PowerShell. You have to do elevated IT permissions. So these are some of the things, but now we're getting into a defense in depth kind of approach to security, not a you buy a solution at a vendor expo and rack it and stack it, and now you're good to go from this particular attack. It is our final story, so I'll open it really quickly to the panel since we have about 3 minutes before jaw-jacking. Panel, what do you think about this story?
So PowerShell did become a big thing. Wade's mentioned this to me a few years ago. Nobody was using PowerShell, and then it became one of the primary mechanisms. So having your PowerShell logs and setting it up so that people can't just run PowerShell scripts is super valuable because most people don't need it. You only need it really if you're doing admin actions. For that, it's freaking amazing. Love it. But most people don't need it. So if you can lock it down, do.
Hello? Your mic's not hot. Just use his mic really quick while Bilbo... Oh.
There we go. Unless you've got a business savvy someone in the business that likes to use PowerShell, but then you're going to have proper controls in place where they have to ask for it and everything else. But Dropbox, I do know organizations that do block. Dropbox.
Yeah, you can block all that
at the application layer.
DNS blocking.
Yeah, exactly.
Through your domain controller.
Yeah. So
I also want to point out DJ BSEC behind the glass, who is slowly turning into a CISO, but still has his networking chops, points out that next-gen firewalls actually do have the ability to tear down the SSL, inspect the traffic at the data layer, and then repackage it and send it. So you can actually do you can look at it to see if it is holding sensitive data and malicious. I did ask him to confirm. I've heard of this technique before, but when I've seen it used, there was performance issues because basically you're doing a lot of work on the data as the packets are flowing through the firewall. Also, again, DJ BSEC or the panel, correct me if I'm wrong, you actually are doing essentially a man-in-the-middle attack where you have to hold the certificates on both sides, and you're basically decrypting it, inspecting it.
Yeah, that's what your
re-encrypting
Pelo
it.
is going to
So
do.
it's a certificate, yeah.
But that's built into your next-gen firewalls.
But even before that, if you're not running Defender, most modern EDR has detection to see why is Outlook or why is this application calling PowerShell. That's not normal behavior, and they have things like auto-contain. I'm not going to plug any vendors here, but like all the normal mainstream EDRs have that capability now.
Even vanilla Defender is now going to catch
if you have Defender Enterprise, you can build these rules as well. Yeah, it's the home user that's going to not have that protection type.
No, mine does that. If you try to run PowerShell from something, because I've for research and for training, I've had to create.
Of course,
malware.
it's always educational and research, right?
Yeah, it'll catch it. It'll blow it up. And alert you.
The big takeaway for me from this is cyber criminals will always use tools that are used in enterprises. The lay of the land. They're going to use those applications that everybody's using in the enterprise so they can try to be obfuscated and hidden in what they're doing.
I've looked at a lot of user policies and cybersecurity policies for organizations that I've consulted with and ones that I've been at, and having Dropbox or Google Drive, if they're like a 365 shop, having those be like, you cannot have that on your work computer, and if you're on the VPN, you're not going to have access to those, is pretty classic. Even in the military, we had DNS blocking on all the domain controllers, so you weren't even able to reach any of that.
All right. So a lot going on here at the studio. A lot of people chiming in on chat. I definitely appreciate you, chat, offering suggestions around this. I mean, this is not simple to just deploy. I know next-gen firewalls are, and we're talking about EDRs. H. Tinsdale talks about how this only works if the firewall is used as a proxy or you have WCCP redirect that has the source certificate.
Well, sort of. But when you set that up, if you have a next-generation firewall, what happens is every device gets a copy of the firewall certificate. Then as you make your request to go out to the firewall, that certificate is trusted on the firewall. So the firewall receives it, and it says, hey, I need to look at this traffic before it goes out, uses its certificate, unwraps it, looks at it, validates it, makes it HTTP or whatever the traffic is so that it can apply its policy, and then when it's done, it wraps it back up and sends it, and the receiver sends it as coming from the original endpoint. So there's a lot of prep work that has to be done ahead of time to set it up because you have to get that certificate on every device.
Are there enterprise firewalls that don't do the next gen anymore?
I mean, you can turn it off, but you'd be a fool because you don't even pay for that anymore, right?
Yeah, I was like, does Fortinet even sell something that doesn't do?
Oh, I knew he was going to Fortinet. Yeah. So, no, Fortinet, it comes.
FortiGate is default now.
Yep.
So if you're buying it fresh.
Yeah. I mean, even Zilix or Zilix, I don't even use that. I throw those away every time I find them. Zizzle, they have it built in. Unify has some form of that built in. It takes some configuration, though. Like, we're seeing that more and more down at the user consumer level, not just in the enterprise grade level. But, again, it takes some setup. So easier approaches would be what Josh is saying, application whitelisting, default denies. I don't want these things because I don't use them.
And, so, it's easy to set up the GPO for some DNS blocking. That's a good just control for data loss prevention without having to go through the whole data loss prevention tool. Just if you
want a home lab project, set up a Pi hole. You can get rid of all the ads on your network, and then you can use it to block applications you don't want to.
Yeah, I've got my whole network going through NextDNS, so I've got filtering, and I can see logs of all DNS records. Mostly so I don't get ads when I'm playing Sudoku. But
for me, it's Wordle. But
all right, hey, and I got to tell you, chat's loving this conversation. We can move it into jaw-jacking. Bilbo, you're getting love from Mod Chat. DJ B-Sex loving what you're saying. Casually Joseph loving what you're saying. All right, guys, let's pivot to jaw-jacking because I know some people have to go to work, and we want to make sure that you all get what you need here. So, again, half a CPE for everybody. We are coming to you live from Zero Trust World 25. This was episode 818 of your Simply Cyber Daily Cyber Threat Brief. I hope you enjoyed the living crap out of it. I'm having a wonderful time here. Love the mobile studio being ratcheted up to the premium upgrades. We got a lot of Team MC members just off camera over here supporting Marcus Kyler's in the house, everybody. We are going to be moving into jaw-jacking. So if you're a first-timer here, Diego Alvarez perhaps, and others who had questions in chat, we talked about phishing-resistant MFA. Somebody in here said something about how do I get into a SOC. All of your questions, all of them, I promise you, we are here to help you, and we are going to be doing it in the next segment called jaw-jacking. You don't have to go anywhere. We will take care of it all. So do me a favor, sit back, relax, and let's let the jaw-jacking take over in an awesome wave. Ever wonder what it takes to break into cybersecurity? Join us every weekday for Jaw-Jacking, where industry experts answer your burning questions about the cybersecurity field. Live, unfiltered, and totally free. Let's level up together. It's time for some Jaw-Jacking.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, hold on. Welcome, everybody, to Jaw-Jacking. We're actually going to do a quick little shout-out to the Team SC. So let's go ahead and show you who is here live. Team SC, you're on stream right now. Good to see you guys. Marcus Kyler, FedEx. We got G-Mark up in here. Anand. Ron's got his cans on. Kimberly Can Fix It was here a minute ago, but they boogied out. As we switch to the 9 o'clock hour, we're actually seeing people getting up and going to the next sessions, the hacking labs. Really quick, they're doing a lot of phenomenal stuff here at Zero Trust World. It's not just a conference with like speakers and stuff like that. It's a lot of hands-on labs. I saw a line yesterday with like 200 people in it going into a rubber ducky lab. Really, really cool. So let me explain the rules of jaw-jacking, and then we will. Okay, so here's the deal with jaw-jacking. Put your questions in chat. DJ BSEC is behind the glass. DJ BSEC, if you can, please flag these questions. There's a lot of gear up here that I'm having to deal with, and I appreciate it. Guys, Justin Gold's in here. Space Tacos. I see the Oprah emotes. Why are we doing the Oprah emotes? I want to be part of it. Nadaraj Monk likes the change over to Jerry guy. Great info. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and switch to the panel. Here we are, Real Bilbo's back, and we are going to do some jaw-jacking. So, gentlemen, I will do facilitation. We've got one pin question in here. James McQuiggan, let's get ranting on kids.
Oh, I was going to say non-fishable MFA.
We can do that after, but we want James Randolph has called down the thunder. He wants the rant on the kids.
Rant on the kids. You know, Bilbo brought up the great comment of the fact that we have to educate kids, and I agree. We got to educate the kids in schools. We got to get the parents to educate the kids. I've long always said, you know, when you give your kid a bike, you get him a helmet, you teach him how to ride it, you take the time. You got to do the same thing when you give them a smartphone, with the email, with being on the internet. But I think the problem is a lot of parents don't know about the dangers either, and so there has to be. I've been involved in several organizations in educating people, going out to schools, talking to parents, and the trick is they're aware, but they just don't care. You know, a lot of kids today think, oh, yeah, no, I post all my pictures online. It's okay. I want everybody to see them. And it's like, yeah, but you don't realize the dangers that are out there, that people can look at your images, figure out where you live, GPS or geotagging location information in your images if downloaded. And those dangers that are out there, they're maybe aware, but they just don't care. And there has to be that crossing that threshold to getting them to care. It's the people that do care are the ones that have been compromised, that have had their identity stolen, that have had their camera turned on in their bedroom while they're getting dressed. And, you know, having that kind of sexploitation is huge in other countries, especially with the AI Nudify apps, new DeFi apps that are out there. And so people are being exploited and just not having that education. I would love to have it in schools, but we already know how much fun the education system is.
Yeah, I homeschool.
Oh,
for
okay.
many reasons.
It's all on you, buddy.
But I don't homeschool.
Yeah.
My wife homeschools.
Kudos to your wife.
I pretend like I don't do any part of it.
Sure.
I have get no credit of it. However, my daughter does find a lot of the hacking stuff interesting.
Sure.
She's 9. She's at the point where reads long novels. She is starting to do stuff on computers, and getting her to drop or like understand what an Nmap scan is doing. She's interested.
That's cool.
And I don't push it, but it's one of those things. If you can get them interested, if you can like try Hack Me gamifies it really nice.
Yep.
Does it really decently. That's why it's been interesting to all of us who spent time on it. If you can convince a kid to sit down with you for 20 minutes and show them something cool, set up a second computer and hack it.
Yeah.
Especially one with a camera. Drop a interpreter shovel on it and turn on the camera, and show that you can do that, and that like walk them through doing it.
And that's for everybody that's watching here today that has those skills. But I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else. That's the
hard.
issue that we're running into. And
That's hard.
Government regulation, privacy laws, all that can come forward. But until there's the proper education, we're a generation out from having this really taken care of.
Well, and that's what it comes down to. It's generational change. So how do we implement generational change for other things in our society? We start with the kids. I can appreciate folks saying, hey, the parents probably don't know. You know how parents get taught? By the kids. We teach the kids. You can teach the kids that Santa Claus is real, right? Sorry, kids, if you're listening.
Sorry, Kennedy.
Sorry, Kennedy. But you can teach kids anything at a young enough age, I guess. Sorry, Jerry. And so if we teach them, they're going to take it home. They're going to say, Mom, how do we get seatbelt laws? Like, I don't even think about my seatbelt anymore. When I was a kid, first 5-10 years, we didn't wear them. In my teenage years, it was me and my brother telling my mom and dad, put your seatbelt on. You're going to get killed. You're going to die. Where do we learn that? They taught us that at school. So I'll just take it all back to we got to teach the kids at a younger age so that they can inform us, because we, too, as adults, learn from the children.
My kids get so anxious if I move the car without a seatbelt on.
Oh, jeez.
Like if I'm backing it up just to get it from one parking spot to the other in our area, they freak out. So it's huge. It's one of those things. If we can make little changes, if you can get the school interested, if you can get your kid interested, and then they tell their friends, and they are interested,
we need
coming in and teaching a class.
I'm going to give a shameless plug to the Center for Cyber Safety and Education, because it was through them that I worked, that I would go visit my wife was a school teacher.
Yeah.
I would go visit her school and talk to the entire 5th grade class in a day, hit all the classrooms and give them the presentation. I did that for 3 years running. But I know there needs to be more than that. This isn't supposed to be just a thing like the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus. It only comes around once a year. It needs to be more, even in our own organizations. It can't just be once a year.
I don't know how public schools are now, or any schools are now, but I remember as a kid, I remember a friend Rachel, when we were in 4th grade, her mom came in. She's a gastroenterologist, and we were able to see the video, the middle part of the video of an endoscopy, which was crazy.
Yeah,
I still remember that.
Yep.
And
traumatized you, huh?
Yeah, now that I've had one. You get older, you should have one. But it's one of those things. If you can work with a teacher and be like, hey, can I do a career day sort of thing of what do we do?
The teacher days. But the thing is, this has to be bigger. This can't just be onesie, twosie on schools. This has to be nationwide.
I agree, but we got to start somewhere.
And I've been starting somewhere for the last 10, 15 years since I've been doing this.
So, I mean, why don't we change intro to computers to include some cyber safety stuff?
100%.
I mean, it starts there. It's that we already have the programs in the school. The content focus is incorrect, is what I think.
Yeah, highly agree. I mean, I took
get the universities
several years of just typing. From 3rd grade to 6th grade or whatnot.
9th grade for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the universities.
Do they have typewriters then?
Now, back then, yeah, be quiet. They need the universities out there fishing the students and educating them in, English and psychology and math classes. Get a cyber class or get it integrated in one of them.
All right, so we spent 15 minutes on that question, and we have five or six more pin.
All right, so non-fishable MFA, you ready?
Well, you go ahead. Yeah.
All right, I'll give you the 30-second version. My good buddy Roger Grimes came up with the term non-fishable MFA, where it's things like OTPs, it's things like soft codes. When you get the code on your phone or you're pulling it from authentication app, you could be phished. You could be socially engineered to give up that code. It's happened. Non-phishable MFA is when you're using a hardware token like YubiKeys or PKI cards in your computer, things that you physically need. So if you're a cyber criminal or a scammer or a nation state and you're able to steal the session key off the machine because you've accessed the system, you're stealing session keys to then log in. I've got plenty of videos and demos that have been done by Mitnick over the years. But essentially, where it takes a hardware token and somebody touching it or somebody then entering in a code after it, that's non-phishable MFA. A lot of the when you get a code through a phone, maybe the authentication apps, those can be phished if you've got education and awareness and your understanding. Oh, there you go. Yep, here's a YubiKey right here. I'm going to hold it here to my face because of the focus. But when you insert this in your computer and it goes to, you enter in username and password, it's looking for a certificate that's on this, and you touch it, it activates it and goes, okay, there's a hardware token. This is non-phishable MFA.
Yeah,
So-
and I'm going to quickly,
and
Bilbo
Cease's got a good definition
Bilbo
of
has
it.
a infographic for everybody to see, basically how is this a phishing workflow or is this a anti?
It's how the non-phishable MFA works, I believe.
No,
Okay.
that's
Should
I
be
mean,
the
this looks
FIDO
like
one.
phishing because it
Yeah,
says
this
the attacker
is-
gets the
Oh,
code and
how
then uses
phishing
it.
happens.
Can you flip to the next one?
All right, hold on one second. We are. This is fixing in production. I only have one infographic.
I sent you two, but I don't think the second one's sent. It must be the 5G non-working
Yeah, no
cellular
problem.
here.
All right, so let's keep going here. I do want to answer as many people's questions as possible because we are trying to help as many people as possible. Lazaro says, trying to figure out what the next cert is. Lazaro is like the Simply Cyber case study for how success can happen. Came into the community, broke in, got his first job, celebrated a year plus. He currently has the Sec Plus Google Cyber Cert, PJPT, and is, as of this weekend, AWS CCP. Very nice. Any recommendations? Which one should I tackle next? So, I mean, personally, Lazaro, I feel like you're getting into that point now where you're starting to slide into mid-tier where you're going to want to start specializing. I mean, you're still on the junior side, but you're going to want to start specializing. Like, are you going to want to be in the SOC and leveling up and becoming like a detection engineer? You have the PJPT, so are you looking more to getting into offensive security operations? Do you want to do purple teaming? For me, or GRC, let's give GRC love. For me personally, I would figure out what it is you want, and then honestly, and this is advice for everybody, find out what it is you want, and then go find that job posting, like 5 of them, and then look at what they're asking for. Because really, the market should dictate what search you're getting, not because you can go get any knowledge you want, any education you want, and that serves you, Lazaro. But the certs, that you're getting that basically to attribute that you have that knowledge base to an employer, right? You're not doing it so your friends are like, oh, damn, look at this dude with the PNPT. No. It's like, it's so you can get paid more.
Or your focus study. If you want to learn more about a specific topic and you're using the cert to then focus your study and make sure that you've learned that one thing. Again, it doesn't change what you were saying. Like, why? What's what outcome are you trying to seek with it? Are you trying to move to a specific job? Are you trying to move up in your current job? In which case, what you chase is really dependent on the end goal.
Yep. So Drago says, I had a really good interview for security analyst position. This is to James McQuiggan. They mentioned that I should receive a response last Friday, and then on Tuesday, but nothing yet. Should I wait on them to respond?
No.
All right,
No.
James McQuiggan sounds a lot like Josh Mason.
I wouldn't. I just kind of reach out. If you've already sent an email if you haven't sent an email thanking them for the interview, go ahead and send them a note, and that's a great way to follow it up. If you're not sure what to write to make it sound professional, use a large language model, ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever. Write what you want, and then get them to put it in professional to kind of follow up. Hey, just checking in. You'd mentioned Tuesday. It's now Thursday. Just checking in to make sure I'm still on the top of the list, or figured if there was a slip or something or whatever.
I want to make sure that I didn't miss your email or accidentally
I didn't miss
delete
your
it.
email. Yep. Also check your spam as well in case it ended up in there.
100%. So Real Bilbo's, obviously deep technical experience and been around for a minute. Also a hiring manager type guy. Ex-cannoli, leave the gun, take the cannolis, that guy.
Nice.
What additional research can he do or she do while working to get their Google certification that won't overwhelm me? So the way I'm interpreting this question is, what are some practical research or security research or labs or whatever that they can work on while they're doing Google cert that won't overwhelm them but will add value to them?
Yeah, so I've done IT for too long. I'll just put it that way. And I live by the motto of 1% better every day. So as you're learning these things and you're looking and reading things in the Google cert, maybe something doesn't totally make sense to you, write that down. Don't stop then, because you'll sidetrack yourself. But make a note, hey, I want to understand more about, super netting if we're looking at subnetting or whatever it might be. Just make a little side note, hey, I want to look at that. Finish your course, the chapter, the course material that you're working on, but then go decompress somewhere else and maybe do a deep dive into that topic, because you do want to understand that topic better and unpack it a little bit more.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, this is great. So we're going to have a guest presenter. Many of you know him as Marcus Kyler. Marcus, I'm going to throw this question up to you, and then he's going to take my seat and the microphone, and we're going to get into this. So, Marcus, Moon says the platform's team don't like temporary access passwords for some reason and would rather temporarily disable MFA in event of a smartphone issue. This is me no, what? Are threat actors, are taps problematic to configure? I don't know what taps are. I guess if you want to talk, and this might be a bigger panel discussion around disabling MFA because the developers want to do that. And we're going to do the quick little transition in here. Initial thought, Josh, while Marcus switches?
Yeah.
Tap is temporary access password.
So if it's for development, then in the development environment, you can totally turn it off. But once it's in production, where you have users that need to protect their data. Oh, he's taking his phone. It's that sort of. Okay.
Hey, now.
Do you have guys here who are capable of hacking into his phone, maybe?
Yeah. He doesn't want his phone hacked. That's my take.
No, I agree. Yeah, if it's in development and it's isolated, they also have to understand the risks that are associated with it. But once it goes to production, you've got to have that MFA turned back on, or those security parameters back on there. Marcus, welcome, buddy.
Yes, in my non-expert opinion, I've been in the industry a little over 2 years. I'm just going to say no. I'm not turning it off for any reason. It's just safer, and I'm gonna put it back on you to, or maybe we can work together, be more collaborative as far as how can we work together to not circumvent, but find a way to work around the limitation in order to do what we need to do, but we don't want to kind of compromise our security for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah, there's a good point. One of the things, if you make security a real pain in the butt for people to use, then they're going to ask to just to turn it off. So maybe there is some tuning of how long access lasts, how long before you have to put in a new code. Because I know some apps I've used where I switch to another app and then I come back and I have to log in with 2FA on my phone. I was just there 5 minutes ago. Yeah, no, that's a huge pain in the butt.
Yeah, and so in the development environment, it's probably not a big deal, but to create good habits, right? Like we want to limit that. So let's go ahead and say we'll turn it off, but let's use a policy where it's disabled for an hour. It gives them time to do what they need to do. However, I want to put a big side exclamation on this. The number one thing I see when I take on a new customer is conditional access rules made in Azure to turn off MFA for a C-suite person's mobile device. Here's the problem, folks. I know not everyone's a red teamer out there, but when you make that rule, I just say agent ID equals iPhone, and now me from my Hacker Lab computer back home, I can send a request with an agent ID of iPhone, and it's not just for the CEO in most cases. They just say, oh, we don't need it for anybody in the organization. And those are the kind of rules that are going to get your environment popped.
Yeah, get that guy a YubiKey, get him biometric set up, make it seamless, but gosh, that's the person you really got to protect, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And the
You know,
admins.
this is something I've always wondered. How do we deal with the CEO who wants all the access and doesn't need the access and doesn't have enough humility to kind of move out of the way a little bit and let the policies be the policies, and you don't need everything, but you're so bent on control. Like, how do you deal with that?
I think that a lot of that comes down to making sure they understand, and it may come down to I'm aware, but I don't care. But explaining it to them in their language. These are the risks. This is if your phone gets popped. This is what we lose. This is what damage, reputation, loss of to funds, your job.
You can point it back to them and be like, so should everyone have access to all the financials or all of the contracts?
But what are you
or
going to
all
do if
of
they do Agile?
And then they might be like, oh, okay, I see. Like, the more people have access to things, the more dangerous it makes it for the whole organization. Like, do you want to hold the responsibility of now having to protect this thing that you've gotten access to?
Like, do you ever get to a point where you have to, not go behind the CEO, but at least put some extra security in there that you might not otherwise?
I have the
protect
benefit,
CEOs.
and I have the benefit of being a third party, so we kind of set the stage from the beginning. But I've also been the internal IT guy that's had that struggle. I was the IT manager for a healthcare organization, very successful healthcare organization from an Irish doctor. He thought all this security stuff was dumb. And he literally told me, I understand the risk. I understand what you're saying. I don't care. I tried to go to what if everyone knows the financial? We practice Scrum and Agile. Everybody in the company from the mailroom clerk had access to everything in the company to see it. It was an open book. He wanted everyone to know how much he made, how much I made, how much everyone made, because he felt if everyone had the info, he's truly following Scrum. If everyone has information, then they can act upon it and they can do it, which is great for getting stuff done and moving projects forward, but it's awful for a security standpoint. So, sometimes you got to bite the bullet. It's very disheartening when you get in that situation, but as the practitioner, you have to protect yourself. So when you have those conversations, don't just have them in person, have them in an email. Maybe even come back and say, hey, boss, I want you to we work together. I work for you, so I have to do what you say, but I want you to understand that this is going against everything you've hired me for, and you're asking me when you hired me to be the expert in this subject.
So I've got this idea I'm developing of how to become a better salesperson so you can be a better security practitioner.
That's what I do.
And I'm currently going through the book Gap Selling, and a lot of it is discovery and figuring out what is the actual pain point, what is the actual, what's missing there. So if you've got the CEO who wants access, why? Really, and you don't just ask why. It's more complicated than that. It's understanding, I hear this, but I don't fully understand what the outcome you're trying to achieve is. And so if you can work towards that, and I can't think of the best words, but obviously, even I, who am supposed to be good at this whole selling thing and discovery questions, it's something if you can develop that, figure out what they're trying to accomplish, then you can get them a better solution. Maybe the outcome that they're trying to reach, you can achieve in a secure way. without just having to give them access to everything. So if that's what you're facing, that might be somewhere to start looking. And if someone is in that situation and wants to bounce ideas around, hit me up. I'm on the Discord channel. You can just @mod or @Josh Mason.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so I just dropped a link in chat to let everybody know that we do have a premiere here in about 2 minutes. Unfortunately, weren't able to get to everybody's question. Please come back tomorrow with the jaw jack, and we will get to more questions. We'll try to be more lightning fast and tactical with those things. Season 2, Episode 7 of Cybersecurity Mentors podcast. This is John Hoyt and Steve Hegarita's podcast on the Simply Cyber Media Group. John Hoyt, CISO at Clemson. Steve Hegarita is a senior SOC manager. Both have hired a bunch of people. Both have tons and tons of experience in the industry. And their entire focus is helping anyone and everyone level up. The number of gems that they drop in these podcasts are exceptional. I'm going to drop a link. It's pinned in YouTube chat right now. Guys, I want to say thank you. Here's the panel. Thank you to Josh Mason, James O'Quigan, Real Bilbo, as always, and then Marcus Kyler with the surprise cameo up in here. I do want everyone to know we will be live at Zero Trust World tomorrow morning again, doing a similar experience. If you're watching on replay, drop your comments and thoughts. What can we do to make this a better experience for you? If you are live, do let us know either in Discord or come back and put a comment in, because I will look at the comments. We're trying to make this as exceptional and as value add as possible. That's why I'm super pumped to have the panel here with me, bringing deep expertise across different dimensions. It's all about good time. So we will be doing this premiere right now. Final thoughts, guys. 5 seconds around, because it hasn't dropped yet. So
Stay secure.
Yeah, great to see you all.
Educate the children.
All right. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. On behalf of the entire panel, guys, thanks so much. And until next time, stay secure.